Chats with deep, going deep, Chad and JT.
Here we go. Have fun.
Thank you.
All right, let's get it on. What's up, guys? This is Chad Kroger coming in with the Going Deep with Chad and JT podcast. Guys, before we begin, I want to remind you once again that we are brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped, thank you so much for keeping our trims pubed, for looking after our hogs, for making sure that our dongs are looking fresh and clean, because we may be in the Q-teen right now, but that doesn't mean you can't stay fresh and prep for the eventual opening when you can show the world your hog again. So use code GODEEP20 at manscaped.com, GODEEP20. And I'm here with my compadre, Jean Thomas. What up?
What up, dog? Boom clap, stokers.
And we're here with comedian Ron Funches. Thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Thank you. I don't have a catchphrase, but thank you for having me.
My ambition is by the end of this podcast, you'll have a catchphrase that works in our universe.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. No press. We'll see if we get there. Yeah.
No, I was going to go with no press, but you took that one.
How are you holding up during the coronavirus?
Not well. I mean, I guess depends on who you ask. Better than others, and then not as well as some other people, you know? It's all in the middle. It ebbs and flows. I just try to ride with it. Some days I feel super fine and okay, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm okay now. I'm fine. Everything's good. Everyone's healthy. And then other days I'm like, oh, I miss stand-up, and I'm useless, and I don't have anything to provide to anyone. So, you know, it's right in the middle.
Right.
Yeah. Have you thought about how your stand-up will you go back to doing your same set when we come out of this, or do you think it's going to drastically change because of this situation?
I mean, of course, it'll have to change. You know, there's some jokes that won't work, and there's some jokes that still will work. So, but it will have to be probably framed differently. So, I think, you know, I'll definitely have to do new things. But, and I was a little bit worried about nothing would come to me and stuff, and that everything is like, you know, taken, and we're all gonna be talking about the same things. But like just from going out and about, and I went to the dentist today, and I was just thinking of funny things and having a good time, and I was like, oh, it's still like my desire to create and to comment on things is still there, and that made me feel more confident and happy. So I just look forward to what I'm mostly concerned is just, you know, the fear of actually going out on the road, because I know there's some clubs that are open now. You know?
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. Were you on tour when this all went down? And did you have to?
I was in
stop?
Honolulu for my birthday. It was
Oh.
March 12th was my birthday, and I was right around when everything started getting weird, and I had planned a show out there and was gonna just enjoy my birthday out there as well. And so we stayed out there for about 2 days, and so it's kind of interesting to be out there because you would see people panicking, but then you also would be like, oh, look at this beautiful ocean. And
Yeah.
it was in some ways I was like, that's a thing that I wanted to keep with me when I came back home, was like, oh, even though everybody's panicking, things are freaking out, like, you know, it's still beautiful outside. It's still you know, there's still good things going on. So I try to remember that.
Right.
Yeah, I stayed at my mom's for like 2 months at the beginning of this quarantine, and I would go outside and there was just always birds chirping. And I was like, oh, the birds don't even know there's a pandemic going on right now. And something about that made me feel more optimistic about our human plight. I was like, we'll be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I always feel like that. I said that about like after the elections, like, oh, you know, people were freaking out like the world's falling apart. I was like, well, dogs are still running around outside. Like dogs are usually the first to know. They're usually the first ones taking off or something.
Right.
Going to be bad. So as long as they're chill, I'm like, okay, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Have you been paranoid about like catching it, or are you just sort of like in a general sort of like just waiting for everything to sort of get back to normal?
I'm not necessarily too paranoid about catching it because I'm a hermit. I don't really go anywhere in general. So I haven't really been that worried, but I'm more concerned about the long-term ramifications, you know, just economic, about jobs coming back, you know, just when the clubs come back open and they're going to be like, you know, 35% capacity or whatever, which means the guarantee is probably going to be down low. which means, my feature is not going to be paid as well either. So it's like, it's all like, this thing where you're like, oh, this is going to take a while. And that's what paranoids me, because it's like, I wish like we were even feel like I was starting on the road to recovery, but I'm like, no, we're still going through the fucking loss right now.
Right, yeah.
The bulk of it, yeah.
Yeah. The waiting game is just brutal. I just you wake up every day and you look at the news, you're like, all right, what's going on now? it's rarely good. But I feel like it's starting to feel a little bit normal again. Like I went to the beach and I was like, oh, people are out and about, they're smiling.
Yeah, there's definitely more people out and about. I went to the dentist, and that was nice. That was what made it so weird. I was like, man, I'm so happy to see my dentist today. We were conversating in between like teeth scraping, and I was just like, I normally would just shut up and try to get this done as quick as possible, but it's just nice to talk to someone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a total hermit as well, and then today I went for a bike ride, and just seeing people socially interact and just being close to other people on their bikes, it kind of opened up this thing that I had closed, which was like my need for other people. I've like completely compartmentalized that, but then today I got a taste of it, and I was like, I was almost scared. I was like, I should just go straight home because I don't know if I want to stoke this feeling too much, because then like I'm liable to go hug a stranger or something like that.
Yeah, you can't do that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see that more and more because me and my fiance like to go on, walks in the evening, and you just see more and more people waving at each other and saying hi to each other, and which is nice. Yeah. It's nice to see that. It sucks that it always takes like a trauma pandemic to make that happen. And but it's that.
It is nice that happened. It is a good upshot that it brings us all closer together.
Yeah, and it makes people less racist, which is fun. But then also super racist is against just one group, which I guess is the worst. But it's kind of cool, that's what I've been talking about on my podcast a lot, is like you find out that like it seems like, division and racism and all those type of just separatist tactics are things that work better while we're doing well. Like we have time to like be like, oh, I don't like you, you're different, but like when there's a pandemic, all of a sudden it's like, I don't have time to be racist anymore.
Right. It flattens it a bit. Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's real good. Hopefully people can remember that.
Yeah.
Some positives coming.
Yeah, that's gonna suck if people revert to being racist after not being racist for a while. They're like, dude, you had it. You were in the pocket. Yeah.
Well, they're still trying it. Now they're just being racist to Chinese people only. So.
Right.
Yeah. You're a big gamer, right? You love video games, so you've been able to indulge in that.
Yeah, I've been gaming it up quite a bit. Playing a little Animal Crossing here and there, playing a little bit Call of Duty. Got back into Grand Theft Auto 5 because they released it for free on PC, and I got a pretty nice computer. And so I'm just going back and remembering how it looked on 360. I was like, this is a 360 game. And then how good it looks now. And it's actually been very helpful because, set in like fictionalized Los Angeles. And so it's kind of nice to just drive around and see it all full of people and just causing a bunch of mayhem. It's a little bit of I don't know, it's a nice escapism.
Yeah, we played Call of Duty relentlessly. I've only started during the quarantine, and now I'm obsessed. I'm a little bummed because my crew is migrated primarily to Warzone, and I'm more of a multiplayer guy. But I can still get it on in Warzone.
Yeah, I just understand though, because when you get used to multiplayer, you're like, hey, 50, 60 kills, Yeah. Warzone, you're like, oh, 3 kills, 5 kills was a great game. You're like, I get that.
I hop on there and there's 3 guys in a party. I'm like, are we playing like hide and wait for an hour? Or are we gonna actually get some action?
You gotta get a better crew, because the key is to play aggressively. And oh man, nothing better. You grab a crew of your friends in a helicopter and start chasing people down. Oh, fun.
Dude, I've learned that. I've taken that tactic sometimes. I'm just like, all right, in this one, I'm just gonna go aggressive the entire time, and that's often when I play a lot better. And so,
it's better to be the hunter, not the hunted, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like in life, you play with no fear, play angry, and it's fun.
Yeah.
They say humans, that's why our eyes are in the front, because we're predators. If we were prey, our eyes would be on the top of our head.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
like
so-
how you talk.
Yeah, look out there at your target and get it.
Yeah.
I sound like Mystery teaching guys how to get ladies. Right, I've been a huge fan of yours for so long. I think your Conan set from I think it was the 2014 one, is my favorite Conan set.
Oh,
And yeah, and I love the fuck Linda joke so much. And did they actually let you? Did they let you say fuck? Did they clear it for you? Are you like the only comic who's ever been cleared to say fuck on there?
I mean, they bleeped it. They definitely bleeped it, but they, actually worked a lot on that set with JP Buck, who's the producer for all the comedy there at Conan, and he was very helpful in teaching me cause I had a lot more curse words than other jokes, and he was like, hey, if we can figure out a way to change it and make it funnier without cursing, and it's better for both of us, and then we can save that fuck for this joke where it needs it. And that's what I really liked about him, is that he wasn't just like, oh, we can't do it. He was like, no, I get it, like this joke needs it, but this joke doesn't. So if we save it over here, we could let you do it here and we'll just bleep it. And what actually I really liked, and what I remember about that, is that my whole family and friends were there, and I was really nervous, but they had like new Super Mario Brothers on the Wii in the green room, and that made me feel chill. And they just told me to go slow, and they had this like kid movie star who was on before me, and I just remember him kind of bombing, and I was like, oh no, like this is not gonna be good for me. And they just told me to go slow, and I ended up doing, like, you're supposed to do like 4.5 minutes. I ended up doing like 6 minutes, a little bit over 6. And then they were just like, oh, great job. We'll just figure out what we have to cut, whatever. And then later on that night, I watch it, and they didn't cuss. They cut the part of the kids' interview and kept my whole set. And I was like,
That's so interesting. Yeah, your pacing was so. I noticed it right away. It was so deliberate, and so that was something you guys worked out together.
yeah, you just knew that my pacing was slow, and that I was going to be nervous, so I was going to probably speed up no matter what. And he was just like, if you think you're going too slow, go slower.
Oh, nice.
And so I just did that, and then it was like, wow, that was really, really slow.
How do you deal with the do you have like a strategy for dealing with the nerves before like a late night TV set, or how do you handle that situation?
I mean, there's not much more you can do than get experience, so you gotta just have to go through it and be comfortable with that. I remember a long time ago, I was just open micing with this guy, and we just went to this like truck stop, and it was just a horrible place. But I had been doing comedy probably like 3 or 4 years. He had been doing comedy like a year, and so he bombs, and I go up, and I managed to get their attention. I have a little fun. I do okay. And then he was just like, oh man, what could I have done better? What could I have changed? What could I have done? And I was just like, you just don't have the skill set yet. You haven't been doing it long enough. And he could not accept that answer. He got so mad at that. And I was like, oh, there's just like, I mean, like, I'm telling you the truth, man. I'm not trying to hide anything.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of that I think about. But the one note that I did get that was helpful for me was not to go there thinking about the people who said you'd make it, to go in thinking about all the people who told you wouldn't. Don't be happy to be there. Be there to prove the people who told you wouldn't make it wrong. And it kind of gives you, gets rid of that, like, oh, this is, wow, I can't believe it. It takes that away and gets you back to, like, I have a job to do. I have to show, insert whoever wrong,
Right.
Yeah. That's been tough for me. I was a ne'er-do-well growing up and got like booted out of school and stuff, but I was always very supported.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know. Like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, that English teacher I had, he was a dick. He thought I was spoiled and that I wouldn't work hard. I was like, he was kind of right. And he was also nice to me at other times. So it's always like kind of a hedged nemesis. Never full blown someone I got to prove wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes it's yourself, you know. You
That's what
find
it is.
You
Yeah.
find it in whatever ways it works for you. No, like I've never fallen into that thing. Like a lot of comedians are always like, "Oh, you gotta come from trauma. You gotta come from stuff," and like some people do it, and I happen to. That is where my comedy was born from. But I
Yeah,
don't
mine too.
believe that has to be for everyone. I've known people who have great parents, great family lives, and they're also excellent comedians. I know people from all different backgrounds that are great comedians. You're just something that you're called to do. It doesn't necessarily matter your background, you know. But it does for me. It just happened to help save my life, you know. So
Yeah.
And you have such a unique sort of point of view, and in your comedy it's primarily a positive kind of voice. Did you always have that, even when you were starting out, or is that something you developed? Just like that
no,
positive
it's pretty
spin.
much. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily call it positive. It's more, I guess it's I optimistic is my comedy.
Right. Yeah.
I come at it from most of my comedy had been like, what's the optimistic view of this bad situation that I went through, you know? Like one of my favorite jokes when I first started was this crosswalk nigger joke where I would say like, oh, I was walking a crosswalk one day and this guy yelled at the street, use the crosswalk, N-word. And then, but I was like, oh, because he was in a car, I couldn't hear that he was like, he also said, because I'm worried about your safety. Like, you know, it was just trying to figure out what's the most, and that's like where the fuck Linda joke came from. It's,
Right.
I saw a guy on a bus with that tattoo, and I thought, what's the most positive reason why he could have that too? Oh, he's just absent-minded. He can't remember to sleep with his lady that he loves, and so he's like, I gotta get it tatted on my neck. So like that's just where a lot of my comedy came from, because I knew it was a thing that I wanted to do every night.
Yeah.
And it was a thing that I knew that from being a fan of it, that it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't improvised every night. It wasn't like, oh, here comes a brand new hour I'm doing every night. You were saying a lot of the same things over and over, and I believe in the power of words and the power of what you put out. And so I was like, if I'm gonna say the same things over and over, I want to talk about things I love. I want to talk about things I actually give a shit about. And it just also happened that, you know, I started comedy squarely in the like fuck Bush era, and I was like, yeah, cool, but like I don't care, like, you know. And so I was like, I want to talk about what I care about. I care about my son. I care about the shows I watch. I care about weed and video games and butts. And so that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I always found that interesting. That your son's 17 now, and when I first started watching comedy, you were one of the only comedians who like had a son. How did that?
Yeah, now they all copying me. Now they all stealing my style, having children, doing children material. I was doing that shit 10 years ago.
Yeah. Was that ever weird when you'd be at like stand-up shows and all the other comedians are kind of like at a different place in their life, but you guys are kind of at the same place, but you have like more responsibilities?
I mean, I think it just, in a lot of ways, everyone's got different lives, and in a lot of ways it helped me. You know, it kept me, I was a person that could drift easily, and my son kept me motivated. My son was like my North Star of like, hey, you can't hang out, you can't fucking play around, you can't go drink and party with everyone, you got a kid to take care of. This is a job for you. And so that helped me get through being a local comic, you know, at a much quicker pace. And so I never looked at it as a negative. The only way that I can say is, but I wouldn't even say I wouldn't be done it any differently. It's just that, you know, I've never been a hangout guy. You know, I'm not like, oh, remember when we all went and did this and that and that? Like I didn't, because I went and did my set, and then I went and got McDonald's and went home to my son, you know, like that wasn't me. And so I don't have a lot of like super tight knit comedy friends. Like, you know, I've never been in like, oh, you know, that we're a group and we all hung out together. I've never been in that. And so sometimes I feel like I missed out on that type of college aspect of it. But I always felt that it was more fun that people liked me because I was good. They didn't, you know, not because we were hanging out, not because I did drugs with them somewhere, not because I like got them out of some weird situation, but because they liked my set, you know,
Mhm.
and they thought I was a cool person, and I learned to really enjoy that more than like, oh man, I wish you know, if I didn't have a kid, I could go hang out with people. You know, it's like I got over that real quick.
And the community can be a trap sometimes if you worry too much about what the other people in your crew think and you don't think enough about like what the outside audience thinks about you.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of people end up thinking it's a team sport. You know, they end up thinking that like, oh, we'll all make it together.
I hope it is a little bit because we're kind of in this together. Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. Of
No, I
course,
feel you,
there's
I feel you,
duos,
yeah.
there's things like that, and there's a community, yes. But sometimes when I was starting in Portland, they would go out and do comedy together, but then they'd also be like, oh, let's start a softball league. Let's all go do karaoke together. And it wasn't like, hey, let's all bust our ass to try to be the best so that we can become national comedians. It was more like, let's all not grow up. You know, let's all like just hang out together and do this stuff together. And then a lot of them turned 30, 35 and then realized that they were still open micing and then they quit, you know? And I didn't want to quit. I wanted to fucking do comedy. So it was more about like, I better stay focused on what I want to do, what I see works for me and works for the audience I'm trying to build, than much more than like just hanging out and seeing what other comedians are doing, you know? It could be the death of the comedian trying to play for the back of the room.
Right. And you started in Portland, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many years were you there until you made the move to LA?
About 6-7 years. Yeah. I mean, I was living in Salem, Oregon, so I had to travel back and forth and do shows in Portland, shows all over the Northwest, Seattle. Seattle was where I'm first really got any type of traction because Portland didn't have a great scene when I started. We didn't have like the Helium Club. We didn't have the festival that we no longer have now. But you know, but it was lucky for me that like as I was coming up in Portland, the scene was growing as I was growing, and so like by the time I was getting any good, the Bridgetown Festival was happening, which let me meet a lot of my heroes. Is how I first met like Bobcat Goldthwait and Ron Lynch and Moshe Kasher and all those guys, and John Mulaney, and those end up being the people who first like got me out of Portland and taking me on the road. Like Moshe took me all over Seattle and San Francisco, and I remember like John called me up and was just asked me to go do shows for him in New York, and I was like, man, you live in New York, you know lots of people that live in New York that want to open for you. You're gonna fly me out from Oregon to go do shows for you in New York? I mean, first of all, you know, absolutely, I'm not turning it down. But you know, he's a great dude, man. And I learned a lot from that guy. He's like my comedy, as he will put it, and I do not agree. He's like my comedy dad, even though he's years younger than me.
Yeah.
And then
no good.
And then you and I remember you were on late night the same night that Ian Carmel was on the same late night show as you, and you guys were like roommates back in Portland.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool to see you guys like, because he calls you, he's doing his set, and then he talks to you when you're on the couch and is like, dude, can you believe this is like fucking happening?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for reminding me of that. I forgot about that. But yeah, that was a beautiful time. And it was so giving of him that he was like, hey, no, go ahead, keep Ron mic'd, you know, like just everybody stay mic'd and we'll just talk and have fun during the set. And he wasn't so like freaked out about it that he didn't want to make it fun. I think it made it more memorable and more fun. And it was so cool that we got to share it together. And I think it really made the community, you know, feel, I don't want to speak, but it inspired the community, but it was cool. It was a cool thing for Portland. You know, the two of us were both on not only any late night show, we were both on Conan, which is, you know, our favorite.
And then he's the head writer on Corden now.
Yeah, so I guess Corden is his favorite now. But
when you guys met each other, did you recognize like a kindred spirit and that he had the same level of ambition that you did?
Yeah, I would say that would be the main thing I recognized right away, because he was doing improv when I met him. He wasn't even a stand-up. But I saw him at an improv show at Bridgetown, and he was the only one that, especially because I was a snarky mid-20s stand-up who was like, fuck improv. You know, I was so I was like, man, look, all these guys aren't funny, but I was like, oh, this guy, this guy's funny though. And I met him later on, and he was always at the same mics and grinding. And we always told the story before, like I saw him at a show, and then he comes around in the car, and he's blaring this song from this DJ Quick Corrupt album that I was also playing at the same time, and I knew that I was probably the only comic in Portland listening to this DJ Quick Corrupt album, and to hear him playing it, I was like, oh man, like I like this guy, and we became real. We would always even call each other like LeBron and Durant because sometimes you would motivate each other, because sometimes I'd be like, I don't even want to go to a mic, but I was like, oh, I know Carmel's got a show tonight, so I better go hit a show tonight. And we definitely I won't speak for him, but he definitely motivated me to work hard and to become a better comic.
That's great. Yeah, he's got such a unique. That one Conan said, I can't remember the with the buzzer. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Ian Abramson, I think.
Oh, my bad.
That guy's funny though.
Never mind. Anyways,
that guy's really funny.
Ian Abramson is funny. Yeah. I love his show where you would do comedy with no one in the audience. He was a trendsetter. He was a trendsetter.
I'm also curious, was it hard for you at all to transition as a comedian from like not being successful to also being successful? And then also some of the listeners might not know, but you came in, you were a lot heavier than you are now. Mm-hmm. And was there any part of you that was like, oh man, like if I go through these transitions, my persona might have to kind of change?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, to answer your first question, I think by that time that I got success, I wasn't really worried about it because I had to teach myself to stop sabotaging success in order to get any. You know, I used to be like that because, man, even in my early teens, I used to hate people with money. You know, I used to think that if you had money, you had to do evil things to get it. You were a bad person if you had any type of fair amount of money, because I just grew up around people who never had any. And so I had to teach myself that was wrong by meeting nice people with money and meeting, other people and learning like, I want to hate you, but you're so freaking cool. Like, and then I had to start like, why am I trying to money is a neutral force in this. Why am I trying to separate myself from this? I can choose how I act with money. And so, I had to go through a lot of things mentally with myself first, and then by the time I started receiving any success, I was like, I'm okay with this. I like it. I'm open to more, and I trust more will come. I believe in abundance much more than scarcity. So even now, I believe in abundance. So I try not to take a job just for money or anything. I always try to. Money's a factor. But my acting coach, she gave me great advice. She's like, you always take a job for a few factors: money, for experience, because it's someone you want to work with, because the material is amazing, or it's just great connections. And if it doesn't meet those things, you don't take the job. So I just kind of live by that with that. And then to answer your other question about my health, it was a real concern about my health. I wasn't doing well. I was sweating, not doing much. I was getting close to having sleep apnea problems and stuff. And so I had a conversation with my mom, and I was on Undateable at the time, and the character was kind of this overweight, lovable loser. But the showrunner, he was like, "Hey man, he's like, we got you because you're funny and you're talented. I've seen you trying to work out, trying to lose weight. If you want to do that, I want to let you know, like, we hired you because of who you are. You don't have to stay fat to stay this character." And so I got more focused on it. I got a trainer, and then was mostly like, I knew it'd be a short-term problem because people would be like, "Oh, you look differently. I don't know who you are." And then I knew from like Jonah Hill and all those people that people were like, "Oh, if you lose weight, you're not as funny anymore." But I was like, well, I feel better. I'm more energetic. I can do 2 shows. I can write more. So how the fuck am I going to be less funny? So I don't really understand that. So it was more like long-term plans, because I was like, if I stay the way that I was, maybe if I find some super open-minded casting agent, they'll be like, submit me to be some leading man in something, but for the most part, I was going to be stuck being the fat friend on something, or like the guy that people were making fun of or some shit, or some homeless guy that I played a lot of. And I just knew what my goals were. I wanted to be a leading man type. I grew up in love with like Billy Crystal type, the Rick Moranis people like that. And I was like, I think that's me. And you can disagree. You can say that I'm egotistical in thinking that, but I think that's me. And I want to do that. And so I thought the weight would be a big deterrent in achieving that. And just also in my trainer put it a great way to make it more. He's like, hey, we're not doing this because you're horrible now. Like you're obviously you're successful now. You get girls now. You're doing fine now. We're doing this so that you get more opportunities, more money, and that's it. And I was like, great. He's like, more health equals more opportunity, and I was like, hey, I'm all about that.
Yeah, that's true. Being healthy, it's only positive. Like,
Yeah.
the more healthy stuff I do in a day, I just feel better.
I think I've been thinking about that a lot now during the quarantine, because there's like I definitely have a tendency of trying to go the other way, getting like just sad and just being like, I want to eat a whole box of cereal, or I want to eat a bunch of ice cream or whatever. And then I think about like, man, no, like this quarantine is like literally stealing time from me. And I don't want to add more to that time by being doing bad things to my health. I want to do, if anything, I want to gain time. I want to offset that time by working out more and focusing on my diet, so that when I come out of this, I'm like, okay, I might have lost a couple months, but I didn't also gain 20 pounds and, lose another 6 months of my life off of it.
And for me, it's also, so if I do get this thing, I can handle it better. Like my lungs are strong, my biceps are strong.
Exactly. You just want to stay ready. I think I learned a lot from watching professional wrestling as a big wrestling fan, and I was listening to this guy, Arn Anderson, who's a legendary wrestler, and he was like, a lot of people make your job more complicated than it is. He's like, but your job as a performer is to just be ready, stay prepared, be in the best shape of your life, and have a good attitude. And I was like, man, that goes for my job too. So I just been trying to live by that of like, hey, I just want to stay ready. If I get some role, I don't have to be like, oh, I need to lose 20 pounds before we start shooting. Like, no, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's shoot. I'm camera ready today, And then I just have a good attitude, and I'm coming to come in and know my lines, know my shit. I'll be ready. And that's all I can control.
What's your favorite era of wrestling all time from any organization?
Oh, that's a good question. Long time, any organization. I would have thought it was like the late 80s WWF.
Yeah, strong.
Kid, because that's what I grew up watching. But as an adult, going back and watching it doesn't hold my attention as much, as everything's slow, everything's childish and cartoonish. But I'm really finding that I really enjoy is like 95, 96, 97 WCW, where they got some real killer just workers, people just busting their ass, like Dean Malenko and Chris Jericho, and people who
Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yes, exactly, Eddie Guerrero. Yes, Rey Mysterio before he, got on the gas and got too heavy up.
Yeah, he got too heavy.
Yes.
And then Booker T and Jarrett Jett. Or Jade, what's his name?
Jeff Jarrett?
Jeff Jarrett, yeah.
Yeah, Scott Steiner. You got a lot of good things going on over there.
Yeah, those guys were great. That was really good. Was that old Sting? That was right when new Sting came in, right?
That was right when new Sting came, but that's also a fun journey to go through, to watch people turn their back on Sting. So then he turns his back on them, and then he's like, I also just saw the Crow movie, so I know exactly what I want to look at.
That's what it was, huh? It was the Crow. That's so interesting. I never made that connection. That's funny.
You never made that connection?
No, and I like that movie, too. I'm a big fan of the Crow. My brother and I used to crush that shit all the time.
Yeah, good movie.
Because it was interesting, because he comes back from the dead, but he still kind of makes jokes. Like in the end, he's like, hey, I lost my powers. And he kind of has a sense of humor about it. You don't expect that from a reincarnated Avenger.
Well, he's been through a lot.
Yeah, I like that he kept his sense of humor. That was big. Yeah, what WCW era I loved is when WWF was crushing them in the early 2000s. And when Jeff Jarrett and Booker T got their push to be like the heads of it, right when Ready to Rumble came out, no one was watching WCW. And I thought that was when it was kind of at its best because they were trying so much different stuff. Like they were just like sucking so much gas that they were just like giving different guys pushes. And it felt like different taglines. Like Booker T was trying out new taglines like save the drama for your mama or something like that. Tried that for like a month. And I'd read reviews and they'd be like, oh, his new tagline's like a C, but we think he can get it to a B with better energy. It was more interesting to WWF was operating at such a high level. It was almost there was no like
there's no drama, no mystique.
Yeah, it was more fun to watch WCW like
no
workshops.
high-wire act.
Yeah.
But also, man, I was watching some recently and you just like, man, this is some of the most misogynistic, horrible, racist stuff that you'd ever see. Like, man, when they really turned it over to Vince Russo, as much as trash as he talks, I'm like, man, you don't know how to write a single thing. You just
right.
Everything is just like putting women in mud matches and just stupid stuff.
And he was the guy. He used to be like the best writer, and then he kind of lost his cachet, and then he came to WCW, and that's when like Raven walked out on him and stuff like that.
Okay, so you watch.
Yeah, I used to be a contributor to little wrestling websites.
I like that.
tpww.net. I was very invested.
Oh, so you were a Dave Meltzer guy, huh?
Yeah. And then but ECW was that was the one I was always, it was hard to find, but it always seemed like the most interesting stuff was coming out of there.
Have you guys noticed that I've been drinking from like 4 different?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, is that a new bottle? Staying hydrated. I like it.
You got to. Some of them are very flat.
Oh, is that why you're switching? You're trying to find the carbonation.
I'm switching and trying to remember which one was the most recent.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Who's your favorite wrestler
of all time? Ric Flair.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Dude, yeah.
Yes.
What'd you think about his doc?
Oh man, great, so great. I really enjoyed it. I love all those 30 for 30s. I really like this Last Dance one that they just finished with the Bulls, as I grew up in Chicago and grew up during that whole Jordan era. So I really love that one. But if you're talking about wrestlers right now, I'd probably say my favorites are probably a guy named Hiromu Takahashi. He's amazing. He's one of my favorites. He lives in Japan. And then I really like Orange Cassidy, which is the shirt I'm wearing right now because he's lazy and he doesn't do anything.
Oh, that's interesting.
I like it. He keeps his hands in his pocket.
Yeah.
What's like the worst branding you've ever seen for a wrestler where you're like, oh my God, this is just all wrong all the way across?
Oh man, there's so many. There's a lot of them. There was that time when Adam Rose got released and then he got arrested for domestic violence and he put his mugshot on a t-shirt. And I was like, that doesn't seem like a good move that people don't get behind.
WCW had a period where they were admitting that stuff was fake. Like Goldberg did an interview during Nitro where he was like, and then people thought I should be a heel. And I was like, I don't think I should be a heel. And I was like, guys, I don't think we should be going this deep into how the sausage is made.
Yeah, I was watching one of those episodes recently where Kevin Nash goes to powerbomb Goldberg and then he pushes him off and walks away. And they're like, that was supposed to be the finish. That was supposed to be the finish. Goldberg's going in for himself. And it's just like, well, I mean, obviously he's not, or you guys would never talk about it. Like, what do you
That wrestling movie that came out about, I forget her name, but she's the WWF champ, Fighting for My Family.
Oh, Paige,
Yeah, and it was such a good movie. But then the finale is her wrestling for the championship, and you're supposed to buy into the stakes, but it's a scripted sport. So you're like...
I've been thinking about that a lot because I want to write a comedy movie about wrestling, but that's really the issue is how do you get a climax out of a scripted sport where people are supposed to either, because Nacho Libre, they did it, but they kept it as if it was real the whole time. So I don't know, maybe that's what you got to do.
Are you going to do like a Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels thing, like a Montreal screw job?
No, I think if anything, it'd be more like a Bret and Owen thing, like brothers.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Hart family thing, like a legacy of excellence in wrestling. That'd be fucking cool. that's always been, that's one of the, I mean, Vince McMahon's done some shady shit, but that's probably, I don't know. Maybe I'm just taking a hard line. I don't know what I would have done in his shoes had that happened.
You probably should. I mean, I don't know what I would do either, but it seems like you stop a show. It seems like you just say, this is over. A guy died. We should probably stop. But, you know, they don't stop during pandemic. They just kept on rolling. They never even stopped during that. And that's why I don't, you know, not fucking with them heavy right now. I'm more into, like, New Japan because, like, they've just been really cool. They WWE fired a bunch of people and laid a bunch of people off, and New Japan just stopped running shows since like March or February, but they didn't fire anybody. They just kept paying everybody their full salary and just was like,
Wow.
"Yeah, stay home, stay safe." I'm like, man, that's a company that cares about its employees.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of comedians write for WWE at times too, and everyone says
Yeah.
it's a hard ass job.
Yeah,
That they really grind you.
Chris O'Neill probably being the most famous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it seems horrible. It seems like you gotta live around their schedule, you know, that you couldn't. That's what the people said about Patrice was so weird, is that he worked there and he would, you know, take off to go do sets.
Patrice wrote for wrestling?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait, are
Is-
you a big... Sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go, dog.
Is Rob Gronkowski, is he doing WWE?
He was,
Yeah,
yeah, he's like the champion there, but then he left because he's back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, gotcha.
And I say good riddance.
He wasn't good? You don't think he had a promising?
It doesn't translate to me. Like, you keep
No.
the party boy NFL thing in the NFL. I don't want to
Right.
necessarily watch that and wrestling. But no, I didn't like it. I didn't think he was good.
Yeah, it's always disrespectful to the hardcore fans in any sport when there's that crossover. Like when CM Punk came to UFC and just
Yes.
like God bless him, he put his life on the line to fight. Like there's no way to fake it. But he got his ass rocked like every time and had high profile fights. I could see why people resented him. But with that, it's a little bit easier to understand to respect because it's like he might die every time he goes in there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, no, I respect anybody. I mean, Lord knows if they gave me the opportunity, I'd be right in there too. But you know, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's great if it's not great. Like, oh, I'll give anything a try. Ronda Rousey, I'd give you a try. She was pretty damn good.
She's pretty spiteful towards the audience, though.
Yeah, but I kind of like that.
Oh, you did that? She was giving it back to him?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I just wish he did that more in person and less online. You know, do that.
Sure.
Do that in the ring on the mic. Then
She's
we got
mean,
something.
dude.
She does seem mean. She seems very mean.
On the Ultimate Fighter, she was trash talking one of her rivals, and she's like, "Your husband's a coward." I was like, "Why'd you have to bring him into this?" I was like, "Leave him alone, dude." But she's just super alpha. She's got to do that shit.
Yeah, when you punch ladies in a cage for a living, you you're just gonna be a little different as a human being.
Yeah. You have a great and I don't want to I know it's like a faux pas to have a comedian explain their bit, but I saw you at Largo one time and it was like a different bit that I never heard you do. And you talked about going to a weed store in Canada and almost getting into a fight.
Yeah.
And it was
yeah.
that was did you ever put that on a special or anything, or was that just a bit you tooled around with for a while?
Yeah, just a bit that I did for a while. I don't know if I ever recorded anything like that because it kind of got too long and it would like peter out at some parts. So I don't think I ever recorded it for anything. But now you'll make me want to try it again. But now it's too. It happened too long ago for me to think of it and be like, oh, let me tell you this.
Right, you're not connected to it the same way.
Yeah, but I might find something. Who knows? I'll find something to connect with it. That's why I always do is like I never throw anything away. You know, like I might decide because for the longest time I thought that was going to end up in my special that came out on Comedy Central called Giggle Fit. Go watch it. It's available. I forgot I could plug things. But it ended up being kind of like so different than the rest of the themes of my set that I was like, oh, I'm not going to try to force this in there just because I like this story. Like, I'm going to go with what works for the theme of this hour, and I'll just do that. And so, you know, if something connects to it, I'll bring it back. If not, it'll just be something that other people listen to. And I kind of like that. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
You said something interesting on Conan's podcast about your attitude towards success. Like you try to maintain it. You realize that at a certain point that being a comedian, you're paid to have fun. So you always try to maintain like a loose attitude in success. Do you kind of want to expand on that?
Yeah, sure. It's just a lot of it comes from me noticing some things with some of my peers, which I it's just different theories. So I don't want to act like I'm shit talking, but when I started comedy, one of my favorite things to do just in life is talk shit. I love talking trash and having fun. In general, like, hey, if I'm talking trash about you, I like you, I care about you, but I'm going to say, hey, that joke sucked, or, oh man, you bombed the other night. Like, that's what we all like. To me, the second thing I love more than seeing my friends succeed is watching my friends fail. Like, that's so much fun.
Yeah.
Because see, like, you love them, they're great. Like Flair, who I love so much, and I think she's so talented, but she's so unique and she's so different. So I take her to some shows and open for me, and I know they're not gonna love her, but I'm like, oh, let me watch, let me see how she goes, and then sometimes I love it because she'll see them not loving her, and then she'll be like, you're wrong, I'm awesome, get on my level, and that tells me more than anything from her killing it. I learned more from that than watching her kill it. We're like, oh, you don't fold, you're good, your worth, and you'll be like, hey, you guys will come on board whenever. And I noticed, like, especially like when you start getting jobs on like sitcoms or things like that, that people didn't want to talk shit anymore. They wanted to act like their sitcoms were awesome, or like, and of course I believe in promoting things and never being like, oh, watch me at 8 p.m. on this show, it sucks. I would never be like that. But if I remember talking trash about a friend's show and just being like, oh, this show sucks, blah, 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 but my friend is good in it. They're good. And then they wrote me back and they were like, man, like, why are you ripping the show apart? Why are you doing that? And I'm just like, oh, I'm just talking trash. I'm not talking trash about you. He's like, oh, I didn't talk shit about Undateable when that was a shitty show. And I was like, but you could have. That would have been fine by me.
And Undateable was solid. Undateable was good.
That's what I would have said in return. It's solid B-, B show. Like, how could you hate that hard? But if you wanted to hate, that's fine, because then I would have retweeted it. We could have fun with it. It would have been a game. Like, to me, it's more weird that you hated my show and you never talked shit about it. Like, you told me it was good to my face. Like, that's weirder to me. And that's, I think, a thing that happens where some comedians forget about the love and forget about the fun and the mischief of being a comedian, and they fall into like, oh, let me start doing what these people want because they're giving me 5-figure, 6-figure salaries or whatever. And I just want to be like, man, I don't want to stop doing what's worked for me. And that's having fun, being playful, talking shit. And sometimes it made people mad, but I don't think it's ever cost me any money or ever cost me any work, because people know I'm good, and if they have an issue, they can come talk to me. If I ever cross the line, I'm the first to apologize, because I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, I don't apologize. Like, if I test lines, so sometimes I got to apologize, but I never want to not have fun and not, and I learned that from so many of the people who I look up to, who I've gotten to work with, like from working with Conan and stuff, where I see him and like, oh man, he's such a playful, fun, unique, like, not needy is not like in a negative way, but like, he wants to make you happy. He wants to make you laugh. It's not like, oh, I'm just leaning back and I got a bunch of money. Like, he's like, he wants to be involved in the fun. And I always want to be involved in the fun. And I also remember like people like Andy Kendler. And there's even a time when I was like, oh, I'm doing kind of well, and I'm working on, I got this DreamWorks voiceover. Maybe I shouldn't smoke weed because maybe they don't want me to smoke weed. And I was hanging out with Andy Kendler, who I love my whole life, pretty much. And he's just smoking joint after joint. And
I smoked weed with him one night. That was a big deal for me.
Yeah, it's so fun. It was a thing to me. Like, man, if this guy who is like so respected and like, so old, and he's still having fun, and he's still smoking weed, and he's still being himself, and he's still learning and growing at his age. Like, I don't want to change that. I want to just have fun. I don't want to ever I always say to my manager or to anyone around me, like, I need to be the least professional part of this operation. Like,
Oh,
and
that's
I'm pretty
nice.
professional.
Yeah.
So I come prepared, I come ready, I come all that, but I need to be the least professional part of this whole bit. Everyone else involved needs to be more professional than me. I have to have fun. I have to be able to fuck up. Like, I even got an argument, one of the few arguments I got with my fiance. We were in Osaka on a little vacation in Japan, and I got asked to go do this open mic. And I hadn't done comedy in like 2 weeks, and I snuck some edibles into the country, and I thought I could just go up like second and bounce out, but of course, unbeknownst to me, they decided to make it like a little showcase where I'm the headliner,
Right.
and all of them are opening for me. So by the time I'm getting ready to go up, I'm high as a kite, and I can't remember a single joke. And I just bomb, and my fiance hates it, and she's mad because she thinks that I'm embarrassing her. And then I leave, and I go, "No, that was fucking awesome! Like, that's fun. That's part of like legend. Is that like they all thought they were like, oh man, this is a great comedian from the States, and he just ate shit like any other comic."
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fine. I'm happy that the other comics that were there, they didn't lose any respect for me because they know I'm good.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, this is fun. This is part. It's not like I'm going to go up every night and try to get fucked up, especially if I'm getting paid. But if I'm in the middle of Japan on my vacation, that's exactly what I should do.
Yeah, and I think it gives you credibility with your audience too, if you're willing to criticize your peers, and also if you're willing to risk like not being good at times. Like my favorite band's The Replacements, behind Bruce Springsteen maybe, and half their shows they were like too fucked up to perform. I mean, I'm sure I would have been frustrated back then if I would have showed up.
Yeah.
But it adds to that's who they wanted to be. That was their legacy, that they were like not they would never put the audience expectations above their own need to express themselves.
Yeah, I think there's a balance in that, of course, but I think that balance comes with money and obligation, and that's exactly what I told my fiance at that time. I go, hey, if I had said to them, yes, I want to headline your show or your show, then I have an obligation to that audience to perform.
Right.
I was expecting to just do an open mic, do 3 minutes, bounce out, whatever, and so like, I'm under no obligation. I can just go do whatever I want and have fun. And I should not, just because I've, done some things, or like, I should not be held under any other, than any other comedian. Like, you bomb, you succeed, you fail, you get up. And I love that. I don't want people to think I'm perfect. I want some comedians in Japan to go like, man, I saw him. I could do better than that. That's fine by me, because probably you can, and that motivates you. That's great. But it lets me continue to have fun, and then gives me a story to tell when I do want to do a show well, which is 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's funny. Some of the most fun I've had doing stand-up are those random bar shows where I'm just bombing horribly, and the audience is just looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? But inside it like sparks so much joy, because they're just like staring at me, and I just keep talking. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep serving this up for you.
Yeah,
you're really good at it though. You're like the best. You genuinely enjoy. Like, some comedians fake enjoy it, where they're like, "Oh, it looks like I'm bombing," but you can tell on the inside they're dying. But with Chad, he'll be like, "Oh, this is going bad," and you can feel the joy in his voice, and it makes the whole audience come alive. It's a
oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
I
it's a
appreciate
special
that.
quality. Yeah.
Yeah, you
for
can
me,
really
like-
give what you got, You can't change it up. You can't all of a sudden, if they don't like, because stand-up in particular, like, it feels like when they don't like you, you're like, they just don't like me. There's nothing I can do. They don't like what I'm about. And so it's not like I can just turn into a different person with a different bag of jokes. So at some point you're like, look, I know what I like. That's pretty much how I've been doing comedy over the last 2 years. It's like, this is what I like. This is what I think is funny. And now I'm not trying to be self-referential or just grandizing or just being like, that you guys didn't watch that 3rd episode of fucking Harley Quinn like I did. I'm not trying to do shit like that, but I am trying to do the type of things that make me laugh, make me happy, spark joy for me. And then if you get on board, great. If you don't, that's fine. I'll try to explain it better next time. But I'm not going to change my theory. I'm not going to me, a lot of stand up and a lot of the way your style is kind of like, different kung fu styles. And I believe in my style. I believe in the optimism of it. I believe in the sharpness, the wordplay of it. I believe it is a strong style. And I'm not going to switch up and start learning a different style because it's popular or that's what other people are doing.
Do you change it up at all if you're doing like West Side versus an East Side show? If you're doing like the Store versus Largo?
No, that's what I like about me is that I do the same exact shit. I do the same Rugrats show at Rugrats joke that I do at Largo that I do at the Comedy Store, and sometimes it works, sometimes it bombs, but that's what makes me happy is that if I can. Oh no, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just my video game wants to play. What makes me happy is that if I can make that Rugrats joke work at the Comedy Store, then I know it's going to crush when I take it to Largo or take it to where I'm comfortable, which it used to be like Meltdown or whatever. But so I pride myself on just being like, no, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's the it's the Comedy Store belly room or the original room, and I'm following Joey Diaz and fucking Theo Von, so let me try to darken it up or do something. I'm like, no, you guys are just about to get the complete opposite of what you just got. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it's refreshing. People like it, and other times it does not work. But, I'm okay with that.
Do you think audiences, there's so much made about like audiences being too PC now?
Mm-hmm.
Have you felt a shift, or do you even pay any attention to that, or what's your perspective on it?
I mean, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like the more that we've said it, the more that I've heard regular people saying it. Like I swear to God, I never heard anyone say it until after Dave Chappelle was talking about it. And then I would go on the road and get in these Ubers and people would be like, oh, you can't do anything anymore. How are you? You guys can't. Oh, your job must suck. You can't say anything anymore. And I think the best thing I ever heard about it came from my best friend, my feature, Gabe Dinger. And the Uber driver was like, oh, how's it being a comedian when you can't say anything anymore? And he just goes, it's actually all right if you're not a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty good. That's pretty much it. If you're not a shitty person, things seem to be okay. You don't really run into that much trouble unless you're courting it. Go ahead.
I like what Jesselnick said too, because he does edgy stuff, and he just said like it just makes me have to write better for my edgy material. Like
exactly,
you just gotta. It just makes you think an extra level on what you're about to say.
Yeah, if it's a good joke, people know, and sometimes a small group of people might hate on it, even if it's a good joke. But then we know, like, oh, you're a fuddy-duddy. You're just like a shitty person. You don't like having fun. But when it's a shitty joke that also aims down at people, then you're just kind of like, man, what are you doing? Like, why are you wasting people's time? This is what you want to put out there. This, that's when you run it. Like, the shit with Ari is like, he asked for shit like that. He courts shit like that, and then he got it.
With his Kobe thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's not PC. It's like, that's what you wanted. You wanted that attention, and you got it.
And Hinchcliffe made a good – I thought Hinchcliffe's joke was maybe too edgy, but it was a joke. It was like Kobe passing. I don't believe it. But there's a joke there. With the Kobe thing, it was just – or with Ari's thing, it was like – it was just straight like ugliness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. You're just like, what are you even trying to get across here?
That's him, whatever. It's not like I'm calling. I like Ari. He's a weird, I wouldn't leave my a female friend around him, but I would. But do I hate him? Not by any means.
Yeah.
And then you have a new show on Quibi.
Yeah.
I had to watch it, but it wasn't out yet. How was that? Making that and having that?
Oh, it's pretty cool. It's called Nice One. It'll be out June 8th on Quibi. Please watch that. You get a free 14-day trial because I know it is a hard sell to ask anyone to buy another streaming service. So I just say get in there at that free 14-day trial June 8th. Watch all the Nice One. Watch some Reno 911. I think they got other programming. Check those out. And then
what's the show we were on, Chad, where we were reviewed dancing?
So you think you can dance? No.
America's Next Best Dance? No.
It's
The
it's
voice?
it's the one where the dance floor like moves, and then they have like huge balls come in to try and take out the dancers.
It was
What was
fun.
it called?
That
Oh,
does
floored,
sound fun.
floored.
Yeah,
It's called
floored.
floored.
Oh,
It made
that
me
sounds-
think. I'd be like, dude, I'd love to be a judge on a talent show. It's a fun gig.
Dude,
You got the
JT's
hair
very
for it. You got the look for it.
Oh,
JT's
thank you.
very he was very good at it.
You were
Yeah.
great at it. Did you watch it?
No. Have you watched?
You gotta watch it. It's good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're great on it. And the host was really talented. She was
She
good.
was good.
They
Yeah.
got some good shows on Quibi. They're not
It's
little.
fun.
So I'd say check it out. My show's kind of like, at midnight type of deal, or what's that other show? I don't know. Anyway, it's me, 3 comedians. It's a game show. I force them to find the positive of bad situations, kind of like my act in general. And then
Nice.
it breaks down to one-on-one compliment battle. It's based off of the boast rattles that Kyle Ayers was doing. And now it's going to be a show on Quibi called Nice One. So hopefully some people check it out, because I would like to get more money and do a second season.
Yeah.
Live
Yes, dude.
touring seems very much in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And Ron, I feel like I may have misled you. We have a little bit left where we answer listeners' questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Um,
made me seem like we were done.
yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I felt that immediately after I let the question go. All right, here we go. What up to my legends of every week? Your pods literally get me through my daily life with a high level of stoke, usually. But now I have a big dilemma. This girl I like followed me on the gram, and I want to get it going with her, but here's the prob. I am friends with her father, and he wants more of a righteous person, and I respect him. What do I do? Also, joining a Rager Pong game with you legends is on top of my bucket list. Stay safe, big homies.
You want
So-
my advice?
Yeah.
I mean, just from the email, it sounds like he's not good enough for her. It's just the
Harsh,
general
dude.
vibe that I was getting. That if you don't think, he came at it from me. If you coming at me with the letter that you don't believe you're worthy for her, you don't believe that you're good enough for her dad to believe you're a righteous man, then don't step to her then. Don't go wasting her time then. Or get yourself together, get righteous, get your life together, and then prove that you're worth it. That's my advice.
I love that.
You gotta know it, man. Know that you're worthy for her.
I would just say, I don't know if someone who was actually not good for her would ever question whether they were not good enough for her. You know what I mean? It seems like only a person.
That's what he wants you to think.
You think he's playing me? Am I getting played? Oh no, dude. Oh no. I'm gonna take it at face value. I think he's being for real. I think the fact that you're even initially concerned about her dad's giving you the blessing just to date is cool. And the fact that you guys are already close means that, I don't know, they must have some kind of relationship. So I think just come at him as sturdy as you can be and say, look, I know I might not seem like the right guy, but I'm here to prove to you that I am. And then take that chance and see what happens. I mean, she followed him on the gram. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like it's on.
Okay.
Is she
I like
watching the
that.
stories?
Dude, good call.
That's huge. Yeah, no, I agree. I'd say cultivate the confidence, cultivate the righteousness, get in there and go after it.
He
That's
says he's
all.
friends with the father. That's kind of interesting. Like, who's friends with their
Yeah,
with
and
dads?
that makes me
Yeah.
wonder what's the age difference between him and the daughter.
Yeah, if the age difference is more than, like, let's say 3 years, then maybe let it slide. All right. Cold shower order of operation. Knights of the Stoke Table, Dukes of Dank, Lords of Fly. Get it? Saints of Stokedness. One might even say Jesters of Jawal. I come to you for the question of method, specifically as it pertains to cold showering. Chad, when you cold shower, is it start to finish cold, or do you start cold and finish hot, or vice versa? Personally, I start hot, get the bathing biz out of the way, and then finish with a nice cool down lap. Only the likes of you, Wim Hof, and Troy Casey would appreciate. I know it may seem trivial to some, but this methodic dilemma has been racking my brain for some time. Thanks for considering my question, all you guys do to make my Stoke cup overfloweth. Strider, thank you for putting up with all my Graham DMs. I will try to stop. You're a legend. Shout out to the whole pod crew and fellow Stokers, Ross and Robert.
Yeah, good question. I would say lately I've been trying to do fully cold because that's when I feel best, and I like doing the hard task of getting into the cold shower. And then when I get out, that's when I feel like the most alive, I guess. But you know what? On some days when I'm just not feeling it, I'll get in hot, but I always finish cold. So I would say try to go all cold, but if not, try to always finish cold.
Legend. Have you tried that, Ron? Cold showers?
Yeah, on occasion. I'm not the biggest. I love a hot shower. I love feeling sleepy. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I know it makes you feel wide awake and refreshed, but sometimes I like going through the day ready to get back into bed. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh yeah, a lot of it depends on. For me, it's like my mood. Sometimes if I'm just want to stay relaxed, I'll get in the hot shower and I'll enjoy it. So,
I had that thought earlier where I was like, being healthy only has positives unless you're being so hard on yourself to be healthy that you
Right.
don't let yourself like be human.
You
Right,
gotta have
exactly.
balance. You got to. That's why you gotta
Yeah.
have a cheat. Even The Rock has his cheat days. You
Right.
got to.
What do
Yeah.
you think of The Rock, Ron?
I love The Rock. He's amazing. Great person. He's a great human being. Best wrestler. Works with his ex-wife in a production company, so he's humanitarian. How do you do that? How do you go from being together as a bride and then break apart and say, "Hey, I still love you and respect you enough that you could help run my business"?
And she's
Man,
married to his trainer, right?
I think so. And that sounds crazy too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all very teetering on incestuous.
I don't judge The Rock.
See, I guess I judge it a little. I perceived it as like he divorced his wife, but he's like, but I still can't let you think I'm a bad guy, so I'm still gonna hook it up. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's still, he's doing fine.
yeah, he's killing it. He's gonna be president. What's up, Stoke Lords? I have a predicament where I've been wanting to break up with my lady for a while now, but whenever trying to go through with it, she starts to cry. Being a nice guy, I feel bad and don't follow through. Is that a simp move? Am I not being assertive? Have you guys been in a similar situation? WWYD.
What would you do?
What's up?
I'm listening. I want to know what you guys would do.
Oh, JT.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to break up with someone. I've barely been able to do it in the times I've done it. I told the story on the pod might come out after this one, but like one time I tried to break up with someone and she was like, "No, please," and I was like, "Okay, let's stay together." And then she was thoughtful enough to be like, "No, we can't stay together just because I convinced you that we should." And that was how we broke up. And then the other time we broke up, it was just like it had reached a point where it was like unavoidable. It's really hard. And I wouldn't use words like simp. I don't like any of those words like cuck or simp and all that stuff. It feels like, I don't know, just like lazy ways to make people feel bad. And these words get like put out into we're all simps. Like I'm a huge simp. Everybody's a simp at times. And I'm a cuck too. I like cuckold porn, but I don't think that makes me a cuck in all aspects of my life. So I don't know, dude. I don't think it makes you anything. I just think you're being weak, or not weak, but you're having trouble in this one situation. You just got to do it. Just break up with her.
Yeah, if you don't want to be, unless you want to be with her, why would you? That seems like the simplest thing. If you don't want to be with her, you don't want to be with her. You can't force something that's not there. And in the long term, it always does more damage to both you and her. I always look at it like if we're all meant to find that right person for us, the longer that you keep her in that relationship, the longer you're keeping her from finding the right person for her. Because you know it's not you. And so that's how I always, especially once I had my son, I would date with intention, I could date and not know if I was that into you, if you were the one for me. But if I knew you weren't, we had to have that conversation of what, could we keep this casual or do I have to let you go?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it is really tough to break up with someone. It's, I'm a inherent people pleaser too, so it's difficult for me. But I like what Ron JT said. It's ultimately it does more damage to them, and it's worse for them in the long run if you choose to just stay with them for the sake of staying with them. So yeah, I think you just got to bite the bullet.
And if you stay with them, you start to resent them, and then you're mad at them all the time that you have to be with them when it's your choice that you're making every
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not going to be fun.
Mm-mm.
All right, last question. Beer count methods. Sup, it's me again, your main man Jet, coming out of Dallas, Texas again. I just sent you a question about something serious, but I'd like to hit you on a less serious subject matter. When you're crushing brews, do you count how many you drink by counting beers you have put down on a coffee table or some sort of surface? Or do you take a mathematical approach and count how many brews are left in your 30 to figure out how many brews you crushed to show off to the ladies, not only how many beers you crushed, but also your impressive intellect while under the influence of stoke juice? I'd love to hear your feedback on this and would def use your methods at my next Rager. Thanks, bros. Jack.
Dude, I never thought about counting from the 30 rack like that and showing off your knowledge. So I'm definitely going to start doing that now, but I used to just count on the coffee table. But I like his style of thinking. I think I'm going to go with a more intellectual approach next time to my beer counting.
This dude is clearly superior to me in his three-dimensional thinking when it comes to beer drinking and how to count it down. So
Yeah.
I've always been kind of haphazard about it, but dog, you're a legend, dude. I love the counting how many beers remain in the can. That's how I do it with sometimes if I don't know if I took my bipolar medication at night. I just look in the from the prescription date to when I got it at CVS to how many pills are left in there. So I'm about to apply that to my beer drinking too, dog. So thank you, legend.
I love that. And Ron, you're allergic to alcohol, right?
That's true. I don't know how. No, I never. I would count it. It'd be easy, 0, or I would be close to death.
Is there a way because you like to smoke weed, right? So is there a way you count
How many bowls I smoke?
Yeah.
No, I guess if my toes are tingling or not, then I know we should stop. But other than that, no, I don't really count it. No, never. I don't want to get involved in that.
Okay.
Dude, Ron, I got to tell you this. I don't know why, but I know a tremendous about you just from listening to podcasts. And one time, Rory Scovel was talking on Pete Holmes about doing shrooms, and he said he got really scared and he didn't know what to do and he was freaking out. And then he said you were the guy who was there, and both Rory and Pete agreed that you were the best person to have around if you're freaking out on shrooms, which I thought was like the highest praise someone
It
could
is
get.
high praise. Yeah, I definitely remember that. I remember that long ago. That was way before Rory was. I think he was still dating his lady that's his wife, and I was married at the time, and it was a crazy time, and he kept wanting to go into an ambulance, and I was like, Rory, I'm pretty sure you don't want to do that. And
Dude, I do that. I go to the emergency room when I get too high. I think I'm having an aneurysm. Yeah.
well, we kept it together, and we got him through it, and then he decided he wanted to get married. So it was a good mushroom trip.
Oh, he discovered that at the end of that sesh?
I think he did. I don't want to speak for him.
Oh,
but-
sorry. Yeah, yeah. That's cool, though. Wow. Yeah. Sometimes that stuff works out great like that.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Ron, dude.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate
Good
it.
chatting with you guys. It was a fun time.
Yeah,
I-
it was nice talking to you, too.
I think you've done our stand-up show. What do you remember that? We were in the Hollywood Improv Lab.
Yeah. Yes,
You don't remember.
I do remember.
Do you like the lab? A lot of people won't do it. They think it's actually, I saw Joe Rogan one time crush in the main room and then bomb in the lab. And I think I heard him later say he'll never do that room again.
I mean, the lab to me is like, it's fun just because, again, it's like open mic in Osaka. I don't care if I bomb there. Like, you're supposed to bomb there. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not a warm place. It's like a place to experiment and have fun and talk trash. So I like the lab, but that's what I use it for. I don't go in there hoping to have a great set. But I think that came because like when I started out, we had this place called Suki's in Portland, and like they just did not listen. And you just learn to just work on your rhythm and enjoy yourself on your own set. And that's why I like the labs, kind of why I like the original room in the Comedy Store too, because if I get half the laughs that I was expecting, then I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. You know?
Yeah. Room dynamics are weird. Like people talk about rooms having energies, and I sometimes think it's overstated, but then sometimes you bomb in those rooms and you're like, I think it's real.
No, so some rooms have good legacies, good energy, and some rooms do not. You know, that's one of the reasons I love the belly room. I think it's one of the best rooms because it has this legacy of like where they would stick the women and stick the people where they're like, oh, we don't know what to do with you. And now because of that, it has all this positive energy from like, you know, Roseanne and Bernhard and all those people that were up there just killing it and nobody paying attention. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of like, I love it when I go into those rooms.
Sweet. Well, thanks, Ron. Do you have a catchphrase to sign off with?
Watch Nice One on Quibi. June 8th. Or listen to my podcast. Getting back. That's actually good catchphrase.
Yeah.
Listen to my podcast.
That is good.
Yeah, that's most of the comedy's catchphrase.
And you found a good cadence for it already. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know how to work my gift.
All right.
All right. Thanks again.
All right,
Great
man.
chatting with you.
Thanks for having me. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. Have a good
All
night,
right.
guys.
Have a
Yeah,
great
good
one.
dinner. Stay safe.
You too.
My dog.
That was fun.
Yeah, he's fun, man.
It was great.
Yeah. Aaron, you want to come on for our second half?
Sure.
Sweet.
That was
Funches is the best.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Hey,
should
he's
talk
not-
about his voice.
I know.
His
Yeah.
laugh is
So
such joy.
infectious.
Yeah.
Dude, Blair Saki, his feature was my first girlfriend, and we dated before we were comedians. And,
Oh, really?
and I was gonna say something, but then the conversation kept moving, and then I was like, I got to bring this up, right, to like be real. But then I was like, the conversation kept moving. I was like, I don't want to just 4 questions later be like, I used to date your feature,
Yeah.
and have nothing to add on top of it.
Yeah. I saw you start to say it when he was talking. And
Yeah.
I don't think he noticed, so he just kept going. You're like, I used to date.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she is really good at stand up too. It's good. It's nice to hear him talk about her like that. She's pretty fearless up there. Yeah. All right. Chad, do you have should we do an ad
Yeah.
first?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I so wanted to jump in during the wrestling talk because I'm a big Bret Hart guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Aaron, if you feel that, come in, man.
Yeah. But you're right on point, dude. ECW was, if you could find it, was the best thing.
It was the best.
Ever.
You get their DVD collections. My brother would get them for me for every holiday. He's a very good gift giver. And yeah, dude, they were the best.
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam, just incredible. Taz, dude.
Sandman.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. I didn't realize he had so much wrestling knowledge.
I used to geek on it hard, dude. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
When do you think this episode will come out? This week or next week?
No, I was going to ask you. So I was thinking maybe we put this one out on Wednesday and then put the bro down on Friday.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
Guys, I'm interrupting this podcast to let you know once again that we are brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped, thank you so much for keeping our trims pubed, for looking after our hogs and making sure that our dongs are looking fresh and clean. Because flowers are blooming, guys. The grass is growing, and it's time to mow your lawn. Thanks to our sponsor, Manscaped, you can trim the hedges below the belt safely and efficiently. I'm talking about ball trimmers! ! Manscaped is here to make sure your balls are smooth and smell nice. After all, it's time for some spring cleaning, guys. That's correct. Manscaped, the ultimate men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming. They have forever changed the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0. Precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. You got the Lawnmower 3.0 in the Perfect Package. You got the cordless body trimmer. You got a ton of other liquid formations to round out your manscaping routine. I'm talking ball deodorant. I'm talking pube management gel. Lycra. All kinds of good stuff. Your balls are about to be nick-free, too. They're going to look so good. Like, it's going to be – people are like, when people do see your balls, you're going to be like, whoa, is that like a Greek nude? And you're like – it's a Manscaped nude. So JT, have you been manscaping?
A little bit, dude. Yeah. And you've gotten me super hyped on it now because it's like, It's like what Joe was saying about dressing for the quarantine you want. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like trim those pubes and just feel like it'll make you feel like we're gonna come out of this sooner. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Totally. Yeah.
It's about being optimistic in your dome and above your dode.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't let the Q-teen get you down and stop your routine, and you can't decay with the Q-teen. You want to come out an even bigger legend
For sure,
than
dude.
when you went in. So
Be pro
Aaron,
K. Don't DK pro K.
oh, I love that. Aaron, how are your balls looking?
Balls are looking great. I've even used them. I know it's not supposed to be used for your face, but I had this gnarly Q-teen beard going, and I was like, I know that my regular beard trimmer, if I want to get rid of this hair, is going to be a savage. So I grabbed the lawnmower and used that to get some of my beard down, and then went with a razor later. And
Dude,
I love that.
super
dude.
happy about it.
yeah, that's good stuff. I have heard that ball sweat has sort of anti-aging qualities to it, so
Oh yeah.
I try to use it on my face as much as I can.
Yeah, dude, I've seen you dap it up, and I mean, you look pristine, so it's working, baby.
Dude, thank you so much. I think it's as good as ocean water, honestly.
And Aaron, I appreciate you treating your ball hair and your facial hair with the same level of reverence for the tools, you know?
Yeah. You got to.
And then, dude, side tangent. You got banged up, huh? You took a dinger?
Oh yeah, it's part of my Babes, Beeps, and Legends.
Oh, okay, cool. Chad, we'll start
Oh
with
wait,
you.
I
Is
gotta
there
do
more?
the
Sorry.
I just gotta do the code. Guys, for a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts: the Shed travel bag and the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped boxer briefs. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code GODEEP20 manscaped.com. That's 20% off free shipping manscaped.com with the code GODEEP20. It's spring cleaning, baby, and your balls will thank you.
Thank
All right.
you. It'd be cool if I could be your balls and Strider could be like the head of your penis.
Why mine?
I don't know. It'd be cool if you guys did that for me too. Like
Oh, okay.
Transformers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say I want maybe we could all sort of play different roles.
Switch off. Dude, I
Yeah.
appreciate you saying that, dude. You're a
Yeah.
legend.
Yeah.
Well, all right,
Well, I
legend.
appreciate you wanting to be my balls. That means a lot.
Yeah, I don't know why I had that thought, but I was like, it'd be cool.
Aaron, could you be my bell end?
Sure.
Dude, I appreciate you being open to it, Aaron.
It's the most sensitive part.
That's how I describe myself. So yeah,
Hell yeah,
very
dude.
sensitive.
The most sensitive part. Nice, dude.
That's so sick.
That was huge of you to let Aaron be your bell end, dude.
Well, dude, Aaron has you both have maybe you both should be the bell end because you have such high emotional IQs that, you can really handle the sensitivity well.
Yeah, dude, we could like hug together and then mold over together and just form your dode top.
Yeah. I think Joe would be the straight up shaft.
For sure.
Yeah. Just no nonsense. Get in there, get out, get the blood in when it needs it, that's Joe.
Yeah, I'm Moses, man. I'm water. He's the pharaoh. He's sturdy pyramids.
Yeah. yeah, for sure. All right, sick.
For sure. Chad, who is your beef of the week?
My beef of the week is the urge to drill myself nonstop. I'm in the Q-teen. I'm in my apartment alone often, and I try not to drill myself too much because, it messes with my chi. I don't have as much energy. When I drill myself too much, I don't want to do as much. But sometimes I'll be sitting on my couch and I'm like, oh, I should write like a soliloquy or something. And then I'll be like, or I could drill myself. And often I end up drilling myself to MILF porn.
It's sad how many times it wins that either or.
Yeah. And it's such like a bittersweet thing, because on the one hand you're like, oh cool, I have like a lot of high levels of T and high sex drive. Like I just want to bone all the time.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, it's like, well, that also keeps my hand attached to my dode 18 hours out of the day, and the other times are when I'm sleeping. So, and like I have a blanket on my couch, and It's getting crusty, dude.
Damn, dude. Yeah. I like jizzing on hardwood floors. That's my thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
The girl I've been FaceTime sex talking with, she's
Uh-huh.
just like, why do you just come on hard floors? I was like, oh no, dude.
Well, it's good cleanup.
Yeah, it's like I try to do it in my hand or in the toilet. It just feels so mechanical. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you develop habits early on. So where you jizz is where you jizz.
Yeah. I hope my dad doesn't listen to this because I'm staying at his condo. Dude, that's I heard
He's like, yeah, I heard your dad talking about how he kept slipping ever since he came.
yeah. I know, poor guy.
He's like, what's with the floor, JT? What the fuck is going on with the floor?
I know. I came upstairs. His girlfriend was icing his back, and I was like, "What happened?" He's like, "I tried to wake you up this morning." I was like, "Oh no, Dad. Oh no."
Did he talk about? Did he at least say like, "Hey, congrats on a pretty big load"?
Yeah, it's something I wish he'd say, but he always finds the negative in things, and it's just like and I'll be like, I hear you. I shouldn't just be coming all over the floors. Can you at least acknowledge that it was a heavy load, Dad? Like, can you just for once just say, yeah, son, I'm proud of you. Your testicles produce a lot of semen, and I'm glad that you're able to ejaculate it confidently. And he doesn't say that. And part of my life, and a lot of why I go to therapy is just accepting that you're not always going to hear the things you think you deserve.
Yeah. Well, this is something you can learn for when you have a son, and he starts coming on your hardwood floors, and you can be like, which he will, and especially your son. He's probably going to be, don't get a basketball court because, so you could be like, to your son, you could be like, here's a Swiffer and nice load.
My little power buster, my boy.
I think my mom listens to this.
Yeah, no. I was just you got to honor all sides of yourself. Aaron, who's your beef of the week?
My beef of the week is with holes.
Dude.
The book?
I fell into a hole.
Oh. You fell into a hole.
I fell into a hole.
Sorry to
It's
laugh.
really stupid. It was like back in October, our friends were like, hey, we're getting rid of our patio furniture. Do you guys want it? And we're like, sure. And then they just like dragged their feet until this week. And my wife's like, hey, you want to go pick up that patio furniture now? I'm like, during a global pandemic, take stuff from other people? Not really my thing. But okay, we'll do it. So we rent a U-Haul. We go down there. We're obviously trying to be socially distant, but we're also picking up someone else's goods. And so they had us walk through the side of their house, which is smart rather than be exposed to whatever germs they might have and who they've come in contact with. But they had us walk through the side of the house, which was super tight. There was like a rake standing up. I thought that was going to cartoonishly hit me in the face. And then there was also this 3 foot by 3 foot that almost went, like covered more than half of the walkway, was this hole that was lined with bricks where their crawl space was. So you could get underneath the house and do maintenance or whatever if it needed it. And so I'm carrying the first piece of furniture, like this wicker, piece of a chair. And I just luckily I missed if I'd hit the lip and then I'd gone face first into the chair I was holding or something, like it'd be terrible. But instead I just went like straight down all my way onto my left leg. I hit my thigh, like right mid-thigh, hit the bricks that are around this thing, and gave myself the most wicked dead leg. So I couldn't tell how bad it was, and then I twisted my ankle too.
Did you make a noise?
Oh yeah. My wife was like 3 steps behind me, so she was freaking out, and I was freaking out. And
what was the noise?
I don't even know. I just know the feeling of terror. Like, did I just break my leg? Like at 37 years old, did I almost, am I ever going to play softball again? Like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Through my head,
Mm-hmm.
So I pull myself out of there, and then, she's freaking out. What do you need? What do you want me to do? And I'm just like, I don't know. Let me try to sit down, because I was kind of was on all fours, so like I'm on my legs still, and then I sit down, and then it takes like 5 whole minutes at least for me to regain feeling. And thankfully I was like, no, I can move my ankle, and I know what it feels like when you break a bone, so this isn't it, thankfully. But it was gnarly. And then it's like, okay, I can't lift any more of this furniture. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Well,
mission
it was-
has changed.
Yeah. And then unfortunately the folks who were giving it to us were like, okay, they picked up the slack, but it was still like, oh. I was so worried about that stupid rake doing a Tom and Jerry and hit me in the face
Right.
that as soon as I got that out of the way, I like didn't even think about the fact there was this giant hole. And I just went, I was walking at a pretty brisk pace and just boom, right into this hole.
It's like in Saving Private Ryan where the dude catches the bullet off the helmet. He's like, whoa, my helmet blocked that bullet. And then a second bullet hits him in the head.
Exactly. It's exactly what it was like. As traumatic and dramatic.
That is
Dude,
the
I'm
worst.
sorry.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling when you unknowingly drop,
Yeah.
even if it's like a foot.
Yeah.
When that drop, you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
Yeah.
When you miss a stare, it's like,
yeah,
oh God, like it messes up your whole day. I mean, like Carlin
Yeah.
has the whole bit about like missing the curb or whatever when you're walking down the street and trying to
Yeah,
like
your
play
brain-
that off.
yeah,
The
Yeah.
shock alarm that your brain gets when you miss a step, and you're just like, and you feel your brain's expecting surface, and you don't have surface. You're in open air. It's alarming.
yeah.
Yeah. So I just it took. Oh, I just went down a flight basically in 0.0 seconds and smashed my thigh into it. But thankfully it's just swollen. It's bruised. My ankle's swollen, but nothing. I don't think anything too bad has happened. I've just been taking ibuprofen and using CBD stuff to treat it. So.
Nice.
Oh, and my friend who's this happened at, like, this was in Brentwood, and they're super high-powered lawyers in LA.
Oh,
So it was
really?
like, I mean, not that I would sue a friend because that's ridiculous, and it was an accident, but like,
no recourse.
I would never, I would have no chance. It'd be like falling at Disney. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney's locked down with that. That's so funny. My
Yeah.
beef of the. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Go, Chad.
no,
Chad,
go.
go. Chad, go.
I was like thinking, I was like, dude, when Disney opens, I'm fucking there. Because there's going to be like no lines. I'm just going to cruise, just go solo, only put myself at risk, and then I'm going to quarantine for 14 days. If I'm hitting Space Mountain, I'm getting in there hard.
Nice, dude.
You gotta hit the new Star Wars.
Yeah, the Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have Marvel stuff there yet?
No, and it's
I
really
think they're creating a land, like its own separate land.
yeah, like a Spider-Man land, which is so lame. That's so not Disney.
Yeah, it's not going to fit with the rest of it, right?
No, that's why Bob Iger's like, yeah, we're gonna have Spider-Man. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like,
Beef it up twice, dude. Give him a beef of the week.
that is my beef. Why are you putting Spider-Man in fucking Disneyland?
It doesn't work.
It upsets me so much. It's like
Yeah, it feels like a Universal Studios thing.
totally, yeah. It's. I will not go into that land. I will,
It's a little sacrilege, right?
very sacrilege. I think Star Wars works because they always had Star Tours, and then it's just like that. You can make a land out of Star Wars. That's really fun. But when you put Spider-Man in there, it's like, what, you're gonna make like New York City, which would actually be cool if they made like a little New York City. But like, also, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I agree. It's
All
a
right.
weird.
Yeah.
They don't work. No, I hear you. My
Yeah.
my beef of the week is something that Ron mentioned earlier that we talked about, PC culture. No, I'm not talking about politically correct culture. I'm talking about people on their PCs playing me in Call of Duty.
Oh,
Dude, Look, I want to be open and welcome to all, but Xbox should play against Xbox. PlayStation should play against PlayStation. And even if those two cross-pollinate, it's all right because it's similar systems. But the PC people, you got to find your own war zone. You got to find your own multiplayer, all right? Because it operates quicker. You're slip sliding away every time. You got quicker reaction times. And here's the thing. If we were on equal sticks, I think I would take you down. You know what I mean? Even though I got some lag at my dad's house. So I Amazoned a Wi-Fi extender. But it's just it's just gotten to a point where I'm in the gulag, and I know if I'm playing a PC guy, I can see it right away in their movements. And all respect to them, but there's enough of you. Go have your own game.
Are they better because they're on PC or?
Yeah, they're a little bit quicker. I think it's a little bit quicker on a PC.
Yeah, why is that? Because the mouse?
I think the controls are easier. Yeah, the mouse is quicker. Yeah. Look, I'm a neophyte when it comes to this stuff, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of blowback. You know what I mean? I'm walking into a fucking landmine storm with this commentary, but I gotta be true to who I am. I'm an Xbox guy. My friend Ferraro was playing on a PlayStation, so we had to use Activision to team up to play multiplayer, and we peer pressured him into getting an Xbox. Xbox, baby.
I love it.
Chad, who's your babe of the week?
My baby of the week is the oven. Dude, I just started using an oven last week. Whoa, totally changed my game. I'm making salmon. I baked some sweet potato. I put some asparagus in there. I'm just really. My cooking is very utilitarian. Like I just, it's very basic. I'm not looking to do recipes, but I like how I can just get a pan, throw a salmon on there, then some sweet potato, and some asparagus, and then, maybe some chicken nuggets if I'm feeling randy. I love ovens. I wasn't aware of them until last week, and they're a huge game changer. So, what up to ovens? You're my babe.
Fire, babe. Aaron, who's your babe?
This is super weird, but I was watching
It's not one
The
of
Last Dance. I was watching The Last Dance, and at the very beginning is when they go to like Europe. The Bulls go to Europe for like an exhibition,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a girl in there that gets interviewed, and they're like, "Who are you here to see?" And the girl obviously goes, "Michael Jordan," but the way that she says it with her accent, she says, "Michael Jordan." I must have seen that when I was a kid, because that's how I've said his name ever since then. So to finally have it catch up and see where the reference came from again, it's like
Interesting.
as part of The Last Dance is amazing. So that Italian girl, or Italian or French, I think they went to Paris, is my babe of the week.
Dude,
Nice.
cool babe, dude. That was
Yeah.
romantic. It was romantic without being romantic, which I dig.
Yeah.
Dude, my babe of the week is bacon. Similar to
Nice.
Chad with the oven. I eat bacon a lot. I don't make it much. I'm at my dad's place. I'm going through his fridge. He's got bacon, nice thick cuts of it. I throw it on the pan. I start cooking up bacon. I haven't done this in a dog's age. I'm just looking at these things sizzle, getting them brown on both sides, and I'm just excited as fuck. I love how no piece is the same. Some lie flat, some are kind of crinkled. You'd wish they'd brown more evenly, but hey, that's bacon, baby. And then afterwards, it's a delicious meal, no carbohydrates, probably fucks with the cholesterol a little bit, but I watch what I eat, so I think I'm okay. And I just think, is there anything better than bacon? Nah,
No.
it's bacon, baby.
You
Bacon.
can also do it in the oven.
Is it good in the oven?
Mm-hmm.
Is it better in the oven than off the pan?
I think so.
Wow. Wow.
Takes a little longer, obviously.
A lot of things that are better do.
Yeah.
That's huge. I might do that right after this pod.
I might make more bacon after this.
I saw a video of Laird eating bacon and drinking coffee. Is that it? I was like, that's it right there. That's the winning combo.
Yeah. And what did he do afterwards? He rescued a town from nuclear annihilation or something?
Well, but I think he also wrestled a jaguar.
Oh, that's nice, dude. Nice warm up. Chad, who is your legend of the week?
My legend of the week is sweet potato. Dude,
Dude, nice.
I'm fired up on sweet potato at the moment. You know, during the QT, I've been working out hard, you know, and I try to limit my carbs, but you gotta listen to your body. You know, your body tells you things in the form of fatigue or all kinds of shit where it can say, dude, give me some of this. And I noticed that if I did really hard workout and then I eat like, you know, just like protein afterwards, my body would be like, dude, I'm not digging this. I need carbs. And I was like, I hear you, but you know, I've sworn off carbs. But then I was like, you know what? But what about sweet potato? That's a cool carb. So I've compromised, give my body what it wants. Sweet potato, put them in the oven. That's my babe. Bake them up, and I eat them, and everyone's happy.
Superfood, dude.
Yeah.
They're so good. It's crazy to me how sweet they are and that they're still good for you.
Right? Yeah. They're so good. When you bake them up in the oven and they're like crispy, but they're amazing.
Yeah, sweet potatoes are amazing. Our yams are kind of like not quite there though, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. I've never really known what to do. Like sometimes you're like, dude, why are you giving these different names? But I don't know.
Yeah. And sometimes they're different colors. Like when a sweet potato doesn't have that nice orange color, when it's a little bit
Yeah.
lighter. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get a
yams
little
are usually
racist.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's lighter, I'm like, I don't like it as much.
Dude.
The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Dude. That's so true. So true.
So true, dude. What I said.
Dude, what you said?
No, what you said, dude. When you said it was so true, that was so true, dude.
All this talk is so true.
That's real.
So real.
Aaron, who's your legend of the week?
My legend of the week is the Stokers.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah. I've been getting a lot of nice, like really super sweet DMs. When I posted the photo of falling in a hole, like I got a nice get well soon from one of the Stokers. Just all around, just been such a positive experience and showing my face on this podcast.
That's awesome.
One guy made fun of me. I had to shut that guy down, but that's
Did you
all
clap
right.
back or did you block him?
Oh yeah, no, I clap back.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
All right, dude, that's awesome, Aaron. I know I get a lot of messages from Stokers just being like, dude, Aaron's the fucking man.
Yeah. Very beloved.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you
Guys, I've got two legends of the week, and it's with a heavy heart. My first legend of the week is Khabib Nurmagomedov. I'm so sorry I butchered that when it's a serious thing I'm trying to say, but his father, Abdul Manap Nurmagomedov, got coronavirus. He's in critical condition. He had a heart surgery a couple years ago, and then the coronavirus got to his heart. And I guess he's out of a coma, but he's not speaking. And Khabib is probably the most dominant fighter in the UFC. He's a Sambo specialist from Russia. He's 28-0. He manhandles everyone. And his hero and his kind of guiding force is his dad. His dad trains him. And I'm a huge fan, so I follow Khabib closely. I watch as much content of him as I can. And seeing the way his dad has raised him to be a good, strong fighter and also a person is really inspiring. And it's just sad to see such a cool guy struggle. Like Khabib wrestled bears when he was like 12. His dad would give him a baby bear to wrestle. It's amazing. And then when Khabib got in trouble for jumping out of the ring after he beat Conor and trying to fight Conor's posse, at the press conference afterwards, the thing he was most ashamed of and the thing he was most worried about was his dad. He goes, I know when I go home to Dagestan, my father will smash me for this. I know he will smash me. And he was like super bummed out. So he wasn't even worried about like the cops or Dana White or any of that stuff. He's worried about his dad. And that level of respect, I really admire and appreciate, and speaks to his father. And then the last thing I saw, Khabib was arguing with some like Henry Cejudo and some good wrestlers from the UFC, talking about what's better, judo or wrestling. And all the wrestlers were like, wrestling's better. And Khabib's a man. He's like one of the best fighters in history. And he's like, if my father hears you say wrestling better than judo, my father would be very upset. Like, and it's just beautiful. And I'm sorry to see the guy struggling. And then my other legend of the week is very sad, is Lynn Shelton, the director. She passed away. She was an awesome director. She did super small, like mumblecore movies. The one that was most special to me was Hump Day. Came out in 2009. Is when I was first getting into film and stuff, and it really inspired me. It was about two guys. Mark Duplass plays one of them, who have like a super close relationship, and then are trying to decide if they want to make their own short film together, where they like go gay together for a film festival. And it was a really good, incisive look at male friendship, and it really shaped my sensibility about art and stuff. And so it's a tragic loss. She was super young. She just had some random blood disorder that popped up out of nowhere. And it's just really, really sad. You know, life is fragile but it's still inspiring because she lived her life well, and she put out a lot of great art and inspired a lot of people. And I didn't know her, but I saw her at the Comedy Store once. She dated Mark Maron, and she was watching Mark's set, and we were sitting next to each other in those back booths that, you know, you can sit in. And she had such a positive energy. She was cracking up the whole time. And she looked like she really enjoyed, she looked like she was really enjoying that moment. And it made me feel like that's probably why she was a good director and stuff, is that she probably enjoyed it and made people around her feel like they were part of something fun. So yeah, I'm just sorry to lose her. So yep, rest in peace, Lynn Shelton.
Yeah,
I think she directed an episode of New Girl that Ron was on, and he posted something about like how she made him, like it didn't seem like maybe he was that cool with the bit they were gonna have him do on the show, and she like totally took the time and made him feel right about it and smoothed everything over for him, and was real focused on making sure he was okay before going forward.
Yeah, she got great performances. She seemed like she was a real like actor's director. Yeah, and she directed Glow and like Little Fires Everywhere. She really varied, impressive career. So yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah.
I read about that yesterday or today. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Chad, do you have a quote of the week?
Yeah, I do. I was reading Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way. He's a beast. I wish I had read more of his stuff before we interviewed him, because I love his stuff.
Let's get him back.
Yeah. So in the book, he talks about Teddy Roosevelt, and Teddy Roosevelt was born with a debilitating asthma. He was born with debilitating asthma as a kid. And basically he couldn't do anything. He couldn't like run or anything. It would just like, if he ran, he'd be bedridden for weeks. It was really bad. And so at one point his father said to him, he's like, "Theodore, you've got the mind, but you haven't got the body. I'm giving you the tools to make your body. It's going to be hard drudgery, but I think you have the determination to go through with it." Teddy Roosevelt responds, "I'll make my body." That's my quote.
That's awesome.
And he did, dude. He did. He was just cranking it out. And by the time he was in his 20s, asthma was gone. He beat it down.
You're making me switch my quote. I love that. That's fire, dude. Theodore, very impressive man.
Yeah, he was notorious for like taking other world leaders would come visit, and he'd be like, "Let's go on a hike." And then he'd just work the shit out of them on a hike.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's like when Don Draper makes Sterling Cooper climb the stairs after they have like an oyster lunch, so he pukes in front of their new clients. It's like, let's see if you can keep up physically, dude. Let's see if you're a real man. Aaron, what's your quote of the week?
My quote of the week is from the aforementioned Michael Jordan.
The greatest.
"I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying."
Dude, honestly, I put Jordan and Theodore too on the same level.
Seriously.
Like in terms of just like refusal to give up quick.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing a Kid Rock lyric right now. Now there's 10 million motherfuckers on my dick. Not as much the second part, but yeah, I do think both those guys are two of the most determined people ever, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
All right, so my quote of the week, I switched it, is going to be Theodore Roosevelt's poem, "The Man in the Arena." And actually, this reminds me of Chad a lot, actually.
Oh, dude, you're too kind.
No, it's true, because I was thinking about this poem the other day, and I was like, it reminds me of Chad. I was like, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat.
Dude, that's epic.
Yeah, be stuff.
If there's anything I've learned from like books and stuff, is just get out there and do it.
And get after it.
And have fun.
Yeah, it's cool that's in books. You read a book, you're sitting at home, and it's like, go get after it. All right.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens coach, one time read that poem after Joe Flacco had a good game. He had been struggling, and then he comes out, he goes, Joe Flacco's the man in the arena. It's not the doer of doers who is criticized. And he like rips it off real good.
Yeah.
All fired up. I was like, hell yeah, that's a good head coach. Yeah. Yeah, I recommend watching on YouTube. It's a fun clip.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good life philosophy. All right, Chad, what's your phrase of the week for getting after it?
This is because I wore board shorts to the beach this weekend. I'm trunking it.
Nice.
Or maybe this is more action. Let's trunk it.
I've appreciated that shift you've made to making it more actionable.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, at a certain point, I'm like, wait, this is to get after it.
Nice.
That's a verb.
Yeah, that is true too. It's like you want it to be. That's going to alter mine as well. Then, yeah. Aaron, what's yours?
Mine is just inspired by the great Michael Jordan. It's just let's smoke cigars every day.
Yeah. Dude, I've been begging my dad to watch the Michael Jordan doc. I'm like, you have to watch it, Dad. He's the most compelling figure
100%.
in like human history. You have to watch him. He's incredible. Yeah. It is. It's just like I could watch that guy forever. Anytime it goes to someone else, I'm like, just go back to Michael, dude. My phrase of the week for getting after it is a phrase my dad says in movies when the chief good guy in an action movie annihilates the bad guy. Like if he blows the bad guy's head off, my dad just goes, "Sayonara!" And he screams that at the TV. And I love when my dad gets fired up watching something. It makes me so pumped. I showed him F1 Drive to Survive, and some guy blew by another guy, and my dad dropped a sayonara, and I was like, hell yeah. So sayonara means goodbye, but I'll make it more actionable. Let's sayonara. Let's goodbye.
Yeah. That's
All right.
awesome. Dude, I saw that on your story. Your dad's watching. He's like, yeah, he's not fucking around now.
Dude, he was pumped up, dude. He loved Max Verstappen. Yeah.
He loves Max. Yeah.
Yeah, Max is a dog out there, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
that
by the
show's
way,
great.
you're looking jacked.
Oh, you saw my Instagram story of me shirtless?
Yeah. You're toned.
Dude, a lot of it was the lighting, but thank you, man. I've been getting after it super hard, and I'm just trying to be as I got all this free time. I got my kettlebells. I'm just trying to get. Yeah. Thank you, man.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. Aaron, great stuff, man. I hope you're feeling better, dude.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, stay up.
Okay, I'm gonna hit stop.
Perfect. Hey, what up, guys? JT here. I just had to add a quick addendum to something that was covered on the pod. I mentioned that when I play with my bros in Warzone, I'll say to them, oh, are we playing hide and wait again? And then Ron was like, oh, well, you got to play with some guys who are more aggressive, because it's all about getting after it, getting out there and killing people. And I should have told him then that my friends do that, and that I was just more picking on the game of Warzone, and that I have friends who, get double-digit kills in a routine Warzone game. And I should have stood up for them then and cleared the record, but it felt like it would have stymied the conversation. But I'm saying now, my dogs, you guys bring the fight to the other side in Warzone. All right.
If you need advice, these guys are really